Hi, my name is Dara Lesley. I'm the Senior Vice President of Sales and Marketing for Shentel. Great question. I have been fortunate enough to sort of land in this digital landscape quite by accident. You could consider me an accidental staying tourist. I had just completed graduate school and I fully intended to pursue a career as a college professor for English literature. And I was teaching part-time and I needed, frankly, more income to sustain myself. And I answered an advertisement for just like a temporary position. And I was hired as a temporary person, actually as an executive assistant way back in the day for a local cable company. And while I was working there, I discovered that there was a program called Cable in the Classroom. And they needed some PR assistance. And so I built this program with my background in education. I was able to put this program together, and lo and behold, they ended up hiring me as a full-time person. And so that was my big start in the cable industry at the time as a Cable in the Classroom coordinator. And so from there, I became their public relations coordinator, then into marketing, and then a salesperson for a call center for inside sales, really learning the operations and the nitty-gritty of how the customer experience works with operations, and then became, just really lovely incremental steps between sales manager, marketing manager, regional marketing manager, general manager, vice president of customer care, vice president of sales and marketing, divisional vice president, and now SVP of sales and marketing for Shentel. In this position as vice president or senior vice president at Shentel, sales and marketing actually includes quite a lot. It's a big umbrella. And so not only marketing and advertising, but we have the in-house creative services, which is such an incredible blessing to have in-house such a creative team, a talented team. But we do all of our pricing and packaging. We do all of our customer communications. We handle product. We handle programming, all of our residential sales, door-to-door, retail, e-commerce, residential development, and marketing, data analytics, and billing operations. So it's a wide purview, and one that it's very exciting because when you touch that much of the business, there's a lot to influence and a lot of responsibility in order to move the business forward. That's a great question. I'd like to answer this first sort of gender agnostic, and then I'll talk about maybe some, I think, things that are specific for women. I think aspiring leaders, regardless of whether you're in the digital landscape or not, but it's so crucial to the digital landscape. And I'll say that's because it's constantly changing. And so I think you have to learn how to execute, and you have to learn how to communicate. You have to model the way for others. And it really starts with that excellence in execution. You have strong follow-up. You do what you will say you do. You have a good or a strong say-do ratio. And basically, you're known for just getting a lot of stuff done and getting a lot of stuff done really, really well. And I think that aspiring leaders need to learn how to communicate consistently and with clarity, and really over communication. You can't over communicate enough. It's sort of that rule of 7. There's research that shows that you've got to communicate at least 7 times in 7 different ways for it to sort of break through the clutter. And that is so true of this industry. There's so much noise in our industry and as an operation, because we're moving so fast, is that it's easy for our teams to become distracted. I think aspiring leaders also need to be strategic and alert thinkers. It's not only necessary to create a plan, but then as the plan begins to be put in motion, the leader needs to be alert and it needs to understand the dynamic nature of the plan once it's in play. In other words, you have to be willing to adjust. It's one thing to write a plan when it's not in play, but then the game starts and you have other players and suddenly it's in motion. You have to be able to adjust and be dynamic to account for those adjustments. And this is critical in the digital landscape because we have, not only the macroeconomic changes, we have new competitors that are popping up all the time, especially in this fiber internet broadband world, right? You've got your traditional cable broadband providers, then you have our fiber to the home fiber providers, then you have fixed wireless. And so there's quite a lot of competition, and that competition is growing every single day. And then you have regulations, and regulations are always changing. And you have to keep all of these things in mind with the day-to-day operations. And that's crucial because that's going to impact your ability to either it's going to propel you forward towards your goal line or it's going to impede you from your goal line. And so you have to really understand and be alert and be a strategic and alert thinker. Finally, on the sort of the gender agnostic leadership, I would say you got to consider others. You have to enable the success of others because remember, at the end of the day, leadership is a team sport. And as leaders, we have to encourage others that how we lead is through others and encouraging others and helping others reach their full potential so that we can achieve the goals of the organization. Because leadership doesn't happen in a vacuum. It doesn't happen by ourselves. And so we have to incorporate others and we have to fulfill the potential of the organization by fulfilling the potential of the individuals as well. Now, specifically to women, and I think aspiring female leaders everywhere, but specifically in the digital infrastructure, need to understand the language of business. I think women tend to lean on their ability to be natural storytellers, to be natural empathizers, to be compassionate, to be people. But we need to understand the language of business. We have to be fluent in business acumen. We have to be fluent in strategic planning and financial acumen. And I would say that really congruent with my own journey, I was so completely comfortable with words and I was comfortable in the language of words and the language of the narrative, but I wasn't comfortable in the using data. And so I would say for women out there, get out of Word and into Excel. Learn how to tell the story with data and allow the data to drive the strategy and allow the data to drive the decisions. And I think that that's something that women really need to embrace in order to move forward. This is a fun question. And so I thought about this one for a bit and I researched a few words to one that I was really happy with. And it's a word that I don't use very frequently. In fact, I don't think a lot of people use this word very frequently. The word is mercurial. I'll say it again, mercurial. And it's an adjective and it can mean several things, but this is the reason I locked onto this word, because it means constant change or inconstant. It's always changing. And I said, well, that is 100% the world that we live in. Also unique to this word is that it means lively and quick. And I love this word for the digital infrastructure because in my own journey, it absolutely applies. I left a huge, like a journey that I thought was regarding English literature and what I thought I was going to do for the rest of my life, when I was introduced to this industry that is rather like an adrenaline rush. And it has kept me happy and on my toes and thinking and just quite frankly enthralled for the last 25 years. And that is no small feat. And I think when you find something that you love and that you can be passionate about, that's really the trick to make work feel not so much like work. So mercurial.